sussy baka tried the skibidi gonk for sure. Brushing up on my Gen Z terms, don't you know? Welcome back, everybody. I am Brandon Rakes Pacheco, and I'm dressed up as Adam from the Beetlejuice movie. Not Beetlejuice, but Beetlejuice 1, the original, OG, with Alec Baldwin. I'm so happy to be back doing a green light cinema review. I gotta take these off or I'm gonna get a headache. I am so happy to be back doing a green light cinema review. Oh, you betcha. Let's talk about Beetlejuice. Oh! And guys, I want to remind you to go ahead and please like this episode and subscribe to my channel if you hadn't already. Brandon Rakes Pacheco, Greenlight Cinema. Beetlejuice, here we go. Ayo, ayo. I'm trying my best not to include, like I said, too many spoilers with this movie, given it still being, pretty new and fresh. I finally got to watch Beetlejuice this past weekend, and I've had my youngest son with me, and we've been having a whole lot of fun, but I'm like, sit down, work on this review of what he's doing Fortnite, Let's get into it then. The movie first begins with Charles Dietz dying. Spoilers, the actor who played him, Jeffrey Jones, he got in trouble for being a sex pervert. So yeah, and we have our first bit of look of AI claymation and kind of probably rushed mess of an idea of getting rid of him at the last moment. But it still makes you wonder, do they pay for the, likeness of the actor? He gets mentioned a lot more in this movie than I thought they were actually going to bring him up in, We're not going to talk about him a whole lot, but I thought it was kind of interesting all the ways they did bring him back. I think the voice of him was James Lithgow. This kind of fun-looking animation. And it's about Charles Dietz's plane that wrecks and crashes, but then he gets eaten by a shark, to which we then get a phone call from Delia, letting Lydia know, Catherine O'Hara letting Winona Ryder, her daughter, know what happened to her dad. So now, in Winona Ryder's character, she's kind of the same Lydia, but maybe a little different. So she has a podcast or something going on where she talks to the supernatural still, but it's more like she's broadcast. And I think she tells her mom, she's like, oh yeah, ever since I got a little money, you and I we've been talking more or something like that. So her dad's death, I guess, brings them back together. So now Lydia has to get a hold of her daughter Astrid and let her know. And Astrid's pretty much a carbon copy of Lydia from the first movie, it kind of felt like, because we have, the sardonic, little dark character. My mom's a weirdo. I don't really like the supernatural, whatever. Let me tell ya, Catherine O'Hara did not miss a beat. She was loud. Delia, I don't know if Delia was that hard to deal with in the first movie, but boy, oh boy, she was loud and abrasive and dramatic in this movie, So the house is in mourning. They have curtains draped over the house, which felt very silly. It almost comes across that Astrid don't want much to do with Winona Ryder's character, Lydia, her mom. I think is mostly because of her, Lydia's boyfriend. He's kind of suffocating and embarrassing. He proposes to Lydia at her dad's funeral and causes this big scene, which Jenna Ortega's character is alright, I'm out of here, that's bizarre. He's they met, okay, yeah, so they met a few years ago apparently, at a grieving thing for spouses, and we find out later though that he's just a gross weird perv, which again is that a reference to Jeffrey Jones? I don't know, but I think Catherine O'Hara's so what does that say about your character, that you were into my daughter at her lowest point? And maybe that's his whole gimmick, we don't know. He comes off kind of a creep to Jenna Ortega. I can be here and be young and cool, and it's oh gosh, this guy, I know he's supposed to be terrible, but he's so great at being terrible. The mom's boyfriend, But so Lydia says yes. He proposes to her and she's just yes. And Yeah, Astrid, Jenna Ortega, she like takes off. She's like, all right, this guy is a weirdo, and this was the worst time to propose to my mom, in front of me, Astrid, she's riding her bike in town. She's like wrecks into a car and everything, and I'm like, oh, be careful. Goes into the back of the fence and into this like real Tim Burton-esque looking tree, and I'm like, oh, where she meets this guy named Rory. He is apparently a dead guy. Spoilers, this guy is already dead. I'm sorry I'm giving out a spoiler, but it's kind of hard to explain this movie without bringing this part up. Yeah, so he's dead, and his thing is he needs Jenna Ortega to sign off, but she will be dead, and he will get to be alive. But he's a bad character. So that's kind of our introduction to Beetlejuice. It's like, oh my gosh, we have to have so many little working inner parts of this movie to tell the simple story of this main character's story, Beetlejuice, right? Oh, so now that we have this much of the story going on, with Astrid being in trouble and this ghost kid needing wanting to switch places with her, Lydia panics and summons Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice!
Right? Why not? So Lydia is able to summon Beetlejuice. But the problem is Beetlejuice is at the same time being chased by his wife. He's married, but she poisoned him. He gives us a whole backstory and speaks in a Latin dead language, I want to say. I had to have subtext under it, which I was like, oh, this is going to be boring. But somehow Tim Burton managed to make this old monochromatic scene kind of funny and exciting. I say Tim Burton, but really who brings this movie to life and as a whole is Michael Keaton. Oh my gosh, this guy's in his 70s, I think, and it was an absolute pleasure watching him. This man has not missed a beat. The energy in him was fun and delightful to watch. Beetlejuice asked Lydia to marry him, and she's already told the other dude that she's going to marry him. I guess she'll just say yes to anybody, but this situation is too big a stake, right? She's got to save her daughter, Astrid. For no reason at all, we see Delia. She wants to go to her husband's grave, Charles's, with some snakes, and they kill her. And so she, I guess, joins him in death, but not really, because, he's, kind of lost, where he's only a torso walking around. He's in this movie. Charles Dietz is in this movie a lot more than I thought he would, and probably a lot more than I wanted him to. So now to Beetlejuice and the underworld. We get to see a little small cameo of Danny DeVito, and I love that. This movie doesn't feel sloppy, okay? The visuals, the sets, everything is I give it an A+, 5 stars on the look, okay? But when it comes down to just trying to tell a simple story, there's so many different characters in this movie to try and just tell a simple story. Back to Beetlejuice, an old wife chasing him down. She's sucking the soul out of character. She's killing the dead. How do you? She sucks the soul out of their bodies, and
The worst thing about prison was the Dementors. They were flying all over the place, and they were scary. And then they come down and they suck the soul out of your body, and then
Prison Mike, Again, with a lot of characters in this, Beetlejuice has to go to William Dafoe, which was fun to see him in this, but he had you almost didn't need him in this in a way. He plays an actor that played a detective all of his life, and he's just locked into this character for the rest of his undead life. So that was kind of funny to see that. He Beetlejuice maybe you took it too real, Mac. Guess Beetlejuice is going to him and is hey, you gotta stop this old gal of mine. She's going around sucking the soul of undead and making them even more dead. Does it say anything about this in this book anywhere? It's my wife's pocketbook. Visuals in this movie was incredible. Michael Keaton was a delight and incredible. I loved the practical effects. This movie was on point. I want to go ahead and give it 4.5 stars. My favorite scene in this movie was the wedding. Oh my gosh, the song they played, someone left a cake out in the rain. I don't know who or what that was, but it was really good, and I loved it. And I know it felt like the wedding, the movie feels a little like bloated in some places, and the scene was kind of overstuffed. But the best part was when the people were like on their phones and their faces getting sucked in. I was like, oh, that looks like some. This movie is a great job, but it's kind of long in some places, you know. I like this movie. I want to give it 4.5 stars, almost 5. You know, I don't think it beat Deadpool Wolverine, but it's darn near close. I mean, Michael Keaton, guys. If you don't even like this type of stuff, just watch Michael Keaton in this. He was incredible. He did not miss a beat from the first movie. I don't think the first one was this structurally messy. But I want to do a review on the first one real soon. I hope you guys like what I had to say about this. I didn't have much to say, but because the movie's still out, you can rent it or buy it. Such a great movie. The music was unusual and great. I loved it. I would love a soundtrack of this. I highly recommend this movie, you guys. I'm telling you, if you don't like Tim Burton movies, that you can at least appreciate his newest. This film, it's to me one of his finest, best work of his new stuff. I really enjoyed this movie. That is my review for Beetlejuice. I hope you guys enjoyed my review and liked what I had to say about it. Comment if you did or didn't, and please like my episode and subscribe to my channel if you guys haven't already. Thank you so much. Alright guys, Brando out.